Hello there! I wanted to give you a quick video to talk about running adverts. Now, one of the things that you will know if you've listened to any of my podcasts is that I say don't run adverts unless you know what you're doing. Simple reason for that is that you can spend a hell of a lot of money and get very minimal results if you don't know what you're doing. So if you don't know what you're doing and you want a little bit of an insight, this is the video for you if you want to run some adverts. Now, I'm comfortable running adverts. I'm already running adverts on Facebook. Hit a comment below if you want to see some information about those adverts on Facebook. Now I want to start running some adverts on Bing. Why Bing? Well, I can't run adverts on Google. Long story short, I just can't do it. So I'm running adverts on Bing instead. Now, I'm very comfortable with the idea of running adverts, but Bing is a little bit of a new one. I don't know exactly what I'm doing. So I'm going to ask for some help from my friend ChatGPT. So I've put, ChatGPT, I want to create adverts on Bing to encourage people to visit my website and get a copy of my book. Bing is asking for this information. What do you need to know from me in order to create the best possible advert which gets the most amount of clicks? Also, what do you need to know from me in order to suggest which search terms these adverts would correspond to? Now, Bing tells me, oh yeah, this is wonderful. Running ads is a wonderful idea. And here it comes with me, and it says, this is what it needs from me. No problem whatsoever. I can answer all those questions. This is what it needs from me for the keywords. Again, no problem whatsoever. I've got all that information. It tells me why it needs that information and what it will do with it. So here I reply, and you can see that I've put a number so that it corresponds with the number there. And here we go. All the answers it needs in terms of pain points that it talks about here just above. What problems, pain points, or outcomes? Well, I'd given it a whole list of potential pain points there. I've done my research. And then it says to me, here's exactly what I need. Here's how we'll tackle this in 2 parts. Now it has given me information that I can copy and paste. Would I copy and paste this? Absolutely not. As I say, you can burn off a hell of a lot of money if you don't know what you're doing. Now I'm looking at this. Build a 70k HR consultancy. Perfect. It's exactly what my book tells you what to do. Proven 7-step guide inside. I would say something better, like easy to follow 7-step process. Why? It's just my personal preference. Proven 7-step guide inside. Sounds great. I like the idea of easy to follow. That sounds more compelling to me. For UK HR consultants, again, that's okay. That is probably my audience. The audience that I have in mind, most of my connections are UK-based HR consultants, but I don't want to rule out someone from Ireland or somebody from America. So what I'm going to put is self-employed HR consultants. This is absolutely fine. This I might change a little bit, but also here, recommended search terms, perfect. So what does this look like in reality? Well, here's one I prepared earlier. Here is the back end of Bing, and we've got here, this is the ads. So edit ads, and you can see here, build a 70k HR consultancy. Easy to follow 7-step process for solo HR consultants. Then struggling for the leads or clients, get scripts, etc., etc. Where do I want it to go? I want it to go straight to my book sales page. Now, if I wanted to, I could create another advert. I could A/B split test. What does A/B split test? It means I'm going to run this advert and see what works, and then I'm going to run a separate advert. Which one creates the most results? Which one creates the cheapest results? And then you could even potentially run 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different adverts just to see which one works best. Because even though you might think that you know what the best result might come from, you don't necessarily know. The truth is in what the audience is looking for, what the people are looking for. And once you find which one of these adverts runs best, which one creates the most amount of clicks, which one gets the most amount of book purchases, Then you turn off all the others and throw your weight all behind that one advert. Sounds great, right? And what you've got to make sure is that you are spending less than it costs you to acquire that customer, that client. So if I'm selling the book for £4.63, how much am I paying for each acquisition? If I have to pay, let's say, for example, £2.50 for one book sale, that's perfect. I'm doubling my money. In which case, I can throw £1,000 at that advert and I will know that I will get back £2,000, right? Perfect. But if I'm spending £5 to get a £4.63 book sold, is it necessarily worth it? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. It depends if you've got a higher value sale behind the first purchase. Now, for you as a HR consultant, you may not necessarily be selling some sort of mini product like I'm selling, right? I'm selling a £4.63 book. You might be selling something else. Depending on what you're selling will impact whether or not you should be running adverts, depending on there's a whole lot of things to consider. So if you do have questions about whether or not you should be running adverts, please feel free to share them in the comments below. As a general rule of thumb, I would say probably don't do it unless you know what you're doing or unless you are asking for some sort of professional help. But the benefits of adverts is that it does your lead gen for you while you're not even in the room, especially on something like Google or Bing, where there's a high intent purchase intention, right? Somebody is looking on Google or Bing for answers to their problems. It's kind of different to Facebook. Facebook, people are generally there to socialize, catch up with news, blah, blah, blah. So getting conversions, getting sales from Facebook, etc., it's very possible. I assure you, I'm running adverts on Facebook right now. And let me know in the comments below if you want to see behind the scenes on that. But I am running adverts on Facebook right now, and I am getting conversions. But Google and Bing, there's a higher intent purchase intention. What I mean by that is more people, when they go onto Google and Bing, they are looking for answers to their problems. That's why it's a good idea to run adverts here. That's why it's always a good, well, always. That's why it can be a good idea to be looking at SEO for your website. That being said, my adverts are ready to go, and I am about to click go and start running adverts to my book. So, wish me luck. In the meantime, if you've got any questions, any observations, anything at all that you're curious about, drop them in the comments below. Otherwise, I hope this video was useful for you. As ever, get marketing, because without marketing, there's no sales. And without sales, there's no business. So get marketing.